Good evening, everyone. It's good to have you all here. And just want to say welcome to anyone who might be joining us for the very first time. If you're hearing me okay, please let me know. If you're not hearing me okay, I need to know that too. So just indicate in the chats to make sure that you're hearing me fine. So I just give probably a couple more seconds before we get started, as a couple more people might be joining us. Let's see who we have here. Auntie Oslin, I see that. So, Mrs. Reed, welcome. Good evening. Camelia Taylor, Auntie Merville, good evening. Tamara, good evening, good evening, good evening. Michael, Karen Adams. Shamar, welcome, welcome, welcome. Michelle, welcome to you as well. I'm glad you could have joined us today on such short notice. Welcome, welcome. Annette, good evening to you. Excellent, 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 excellent. Jackie Roden, welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, so we're about to get started. And boy, if I fall asleep while doing this, you know, please forgive me. Been kind of tired lately, and it wasn't because of anything to do with any carnival or anything like that. You know, these hips are for Jesus. But it's good to have you all here. I'm looking forward to tonight's presentation. I'm gonna put up on the um, screen here some information so that I want you to kind of take down our um, if you have the ability to scan a QR code with your phone, I'm gonna invite you to scan the QR code right now that appears on the screen. If you're not able to scan it, then you can just put in the URL at the bottom of the screen into your browser, whatever browser. So it will be https colon forward slash forward slash. And most browsers don't require you to put that first part in. You can just put drive.google.com and the rest of it, and you should be able to get that information to our form that allows you to be able to um, follow along, with our handouts. We have a PDF handout that goes along with this presentation. So if you are able to scan the QR code and or just put in the URL that you see at the bottom of the screen, it will take you to the document that we will be using as our handout. So go right ahead and do that quickly as we get started. So do that for me quickly. If anyone has any trouble, please let me know. There should not be any difficulties, but if there's a difficulty, let me know. All right. I hope it's going well. There's a couple more moments for those who are still trying to put in the information. And if you've been able to access the form, I'm going to ask that you just go ahead and indicate it in the chat. So go ahead and just indicate in the chat so we know that you are able to access the form. What I'll try to do is see if I could possibly even copy the URL and put it in the chats for you so you can just simply click it. Yeah, that would probably be a lot easier for you. So hold on, let me see if I can get to it here. Mhm. All right, so all right, so I think that should help persons get to the form. All right. Mhm. All right. Excellent, 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 excellent. All right, excellent work, excellent work. So I hope you were able to all get the form. If you were not able to get to the form, please let me know. I have already included the link in the chat section. So for any one of you who might not be able to scan it or whatever, you should be able to access it by just clicking the link. So just click that link and see if it works. All right? I hope it does work. I hope it does work. All right. Okay. Let me do something here just to complete my setup and then we will begin. All right. So here we go. Let us rock and roll. Okay, sorry about that break in transmission there. Good. So I see that the link is working for some of you. Great. Excellent, excellent, excellent. All right. So let me put up my face so that people can see me. Here I am. And I have to say that it's good to be able to spend time with you, though not in person, but we are grateful to have the time nonetheless. So, one quick someone has come to the door here, so I'm going to have to try to find out what's happening. So, please forgive me. I wanted to start right now, but maybe in less than a minute we shall be able to start. So, just all right. Sorry about that. Lord of mercy. Whew. Ah, yeah, I have to get my breath, catch my breath because I was there running trying to sort out something for somebody who desperately needed my help, and because I'm the only one left here at work, I had to try to jump in to save the day and save the day. I hope I did. All right, so let us get back to it, shall we? So the topic for today is the 7 keys to getting and staying well. And there are many persons who, in my understanding and my own estimation, have various challenges with the healthcare system, and the challenges that they have is mainly because they do not fully understand or appreciate what the most important aspects of the healthcare system is about, how the healthcare system can benefit them, and what the healthcare system is not equipped to properly manage. Everybody believes that whatever it is that you have, as long as it relates to your health, a medical doctor or a hospital or a pharmacy will be able to help you. And the reality is that no, there are certain things for which you will need other types of intervention to properly deal with. And yes, the current system as it relates to healthcare is very important, and it is great for the things that it is good at. All right, but it's not good at everything. So we want to talk a little bit about that. And I want to make sure that you fully understand when I'm talking about these things, what I mean. And nothing I say here tonight is about bashing the system as it is. So this is what the form looks like. So, well, originally it's a fill in the blanker, but I have gone ahead and completed the blanks for you. And this is the QR code with the link again. So let us jump right into it, right? Now, when we look at the model that we call our healthcare model, and it is not accessing the form still. Annette, have you tried clicking the link? I'm not sure if if an Apple device will be able to access it. I know I'm using an Android device or a Windows-based device. So maybe the problem that you are having might be because it is an Apple device that you're using. But still give it a try and see what can be done. All right? Still give it a try. Still give it a try. All right. So let's move forward, right? So let us look at it. So the healthcare system. The first thing I want people to understand about the system we call the healthcare system is that it is based on, or the decisions that are made for this system are based on the primary consumers of this system. So who would we say the primary consumers of the healthcare system are? Would you say A, healthy people, B, sick people? Who would you say are the primary consumers of the healthcare system? If you answered A, you are incorrect, because the number one consumer of this system is actually somebody who is sick, somebody who has a disease or has an ailment or has an infection or an injury for which they need that type of emergency type intervention. It is not designed for healthy people, nor does it purport to assist those who are healthy. The most it can do for those who are in good health is try to offer early detection. And early detection has its value. But people, if you do not understand the need to use the parts of the system that applies to you, and if it does not apply to you, you leave it alone. If you don't have that basic understanding, then you're going to be setting yourself up to be frustrated. I hear people cursing the doctors all the time, saying that, boy, I'm tired to go to doctor because every time I go to the doctor, they want to prescribe medication or they want to give me pill, I just pure pill. Well, you have to understand, if you go to a mechanic, they're going to use the tools that they're trained to use. If you go to an electrician, they're going to be using the tools that they're trained to do. If you go to a medical doctor, they are going to be using the tools that they're trained to do. And the medical profession trains the doctors to prescribe medications or to operate or do surgeries on persons, whether it's minor or major, whatever the case is. But it is drugs and surgery are the primary tools used by the health industry. If you understand that, then you will give your doctors a less of a hard time because they can't do what they're not trained to do. So you have to find out what it is that you want and who might be the best provider to offer that. So the problem that I have, well, not the problem with the system, but one of the things that I've identified with this system and I want to impart it to you is that the sick care, meaning that they're caring for the sick, system is reactive. And what do we mean by reactive? By reactive, we mean something has to go wrong first before an intervention can be applied. There is a downside, obviously, to having a reactive system. The downside is that if you wait until something goes wrong in your body before you try to fix it, the thing that goes wrong might be something that either A, claims your life, or B, cannot be fixed. And so if you wait for something to go wrong first before you try to do something favorable, you might end up being a little bit too far behind the cue ball or too late for comfort. So the important thing is you have to adopt a different approach. We can't simply wait to react to a problem. If we want to be truly healthy, we have to preempt problems in the beginning. So we have to anticipate when something may go wrong. So the difference between sick care, a sick care approach to health versus true health care is that if you truly want to be healthy, you have to be proactive. And what do we mean by being proactive? It means doing something before something else happens. So before you get sick, you make changes or you add something or you take away something. You do something before the disease sets in. And this is the best way I have found to ensure that you achieve or you improve your chance of achieving optimal health. Wait until something goes wrong is recipe for disaster. Doing something before anything is even wrong is the best approach. So there's a problem with the healthcare system, and many people don't even understand. The main problem with the healthcare system right now is the cost. The cost to participate in the system is through the roof. Most countries, you have to pay for your doctor visits. Even in Jamaica, there are user fees. I don't know if there's still user fees at the hospitals, at the public hospitals. But if you want to get the best quality care here, you have to be willing to spend a lot of money because it's very expensive. The technologies involved in medicine is very expensive and so on. So you find that a lot of persons, if they have, especially if they have like a terminal illness or a major medical expense to pay, like something for cancer or whatever the case is, or if you have to be hospitalized, it can be a pretty penny. And a lot of persons go bankrupt as a result of it. They exhaust their savings, their earnings, whatever it is that they have. They may completely wipe it out in an attempt to save their own lives. So that's the inherent problem of the system. But that's not what I want to talk about. The main challenge that I have is that the system is training too many of us how to think. The system the healthcare system as it exists currently, which is a system that's governed by the pharmaceutical industry, they govern what happens with the healthcare system. And I know a lot of persons might choose to disagree, or they may disagree, and that's fine. To each their own. But when you have a system whereby the medications that are being developed and that are sold for patient care are manufactured by the pharmaceutical industry. They are the primary money makers of the health industry. If you consider that the medical doctor is the one who has to prescribe these medications, and the medical doctor is trained to prescribe medications for the pharmaceutical industry to the general public. Because of that combination of, or the way that system is organized, you find that the pharmaceutical industry has probably too much say in what happens in medicine. And so it's no longer just that your doctor who means well is able to just be free to do whatever they want. There are things in place to ensure that what they're trained to do suits the interest of the pharmaceutical industry. And so the training in terms of how the doctors think and how even the general public thinks is based on what the system mandates. So, what I'm going to try to do tonight is to break through those, I think, substandard ways of thinking, to try to change your way of thinking into something that is more uplifting, something that is more positive, and something that gives you greater control over your health. So, we're going to look at the two ways and see if we can understand how to improve what we do mentally right now. So, firstly, most of us, if we have pain or if we have an ailment, the first thing we want to do or we want to know is, what can I take to feel better? Is that true? Does anyone agree with that statement? Is it true? Are most of us simply interested in wanting to feel better? Because this is what many people are doing. Many people, they just simply want a quick fix. What I'm going to suggest to you is that you ask yourselves different questions. If you ask the right question, then you have a chance of getting the right answer. But if you ask a wrong question, there is no right answer to a wrong question. So, a wrong question is, what do I need to take to feel better? Because if you simply take something to feel better, you're very likely going to take something that does not improve your situation, just makes you not suffer as much. But the problem with that is that if you do something like this, it may end up costing you in the long run. A lot of persons take medication to ease their pain, but then they do something afterwards because they feel a little better. They do something to jeopardize their health and they won't even feel that they're messing themselves up because they've taken something to block the pain. So that's not the best thing to do. So what I suggest that persons do is simply, rather than asking what do I need to take to feel better, you ask what do I need to do in order to get better? Because getting better is way more valuable than simply just feeling better. How about this? Have you ever used the expression get well soon? A lot of us, we might have a friend in the hospital or a loved one, and we give them a card or something to wish them a speedy recovery. So we say get well soon. But just as I suggested, that statement, getting well, is a wish. It's just wishful thinking. It is not rooted in anything concrete. It's not rooted in anything that requires effort on the part of the person. Just simply that you you're hoping and wishing that they achieve a state of health? Well, I'm going to suggest that a better way of thinking is, instead of thinking, what do I need to do to get well? Think, what do I need to do ongoingly in order to stay well? Because wellness is not the destination. Wellness is all about the journey. And if you work toward wellness, you have to be willing to work ongoingly. So that is the key to understanding wellness. Wellness is a process. So the last measure or the last way that we think is based on how long people live. And so we'll say things like the system is doing good or bad based on how long people are living. And yes, it is true that health is one measure of longevity. Health is not the only determinant of longevity. In fact, there are many people who are healthy that will die before many people who are unhealthy. Just because somebody has a disease doesn't mean that they will outlive somebody who does not. There are many things that can claim somebody's life. Traumas, accidents, many things that can claim somebody's lives. So we have to understand and appreciate that. All right? So simply staying alive is not the best thought as to how well the system is doing. You know how well the system is doing is how well people are living. It's the quality of that life. If you feel alive. So if you ask yourself, what do I need to do in order to feel alive? Then you will start to appreciate that it's about the process, it's about the journey, and it's something that you don't just do for the second, you do ongoingly. Because the moment you stop doing the things you need to do, you're gonna start to go backwards. I hope that's making some sense to somebody. If it is, let us move on because we're gonna get serious now. The second thing is understanding the truth about pain. Is pain a good thing or a bad thing? Is pain a good thing or a bad thing? I'm going to ask that you just indicate quickly in the chat whether you think pain is a good thing or a bad thing. Is pain a good thing or a bad thing? Please indicate in the chat. I want to see what your comments are like. Is pain a good thing or a bad thing? Is pain a good thing or a bad thing? I'm just going to wait and see if I get a couple of responses and then we move again. Is pain a good thing or a bad thing? We're waiting. All right, can be both. Auntie Merville says can be both. That's true. Can be both. Anyone else? Anyone else? I want somebody to commit to one or the other. Don't take the easy way out. All right, so Jackie says it's good. Anybody else? All right, so most people are on the fences, and I understand why. Because the reality is there's good and bad in pain, and that's true. But the more important thing is not just about the good or bad of pain, but the purpose of pain. So what is the purpose of pain? And if you read here, pain alerts us that something has changed and requires our attention. This is important because there is a limit to what pain can tell us. So there is a problem with pain, and the problem with pain is that you cannot trust pain to always let you know when something is wrong. You cannot trust pain to always let you know when something is wrong. Good health does not equate to feeling good. somebody can feel good, but yet still they have bad health. There are a lot of people who are like this. So we want to make sure that we don't just rely on how we feel. We have to look at how our bodies work and try to put measures in place to help the way the body works. So good health is equal to healthy function. If the body is working the way it should work, then health has a chance of coming forward. So the final point on this one is trust function, not feeling. Trust function, not feeling. And to understand what we mean by function, you have to take a look at the different organs of the body, the different organ systems of the body. If you look at the different systems of the body, they all have to be working appropriately in order for one to consider themselves to be healthy. So the immune system, digestive system, cardiovascular, all of these systems have to be working. If one system is not working well, then it impacts the health of the entire human body. So every system has to be working well. But beyond just working well, there is one system that is considered to be the master control system of the body. One system is the master control system of the body, and which system is that? If you said the nervous system, you are correct. The nervous system is the master control system of the body, and that's because it comprises of the brain at the top and the spinal cord. It comprises the brain and the spinal cord. It comprises the brain and the spinal cord. Alright, I'm trying to make this a little bigger here. I want to show you guys something here. I want to show you something. Because I want to make sure that you understand what I'm talking about, right? When you look at the brain and spinal cord, from the brain and spinal cord come these yellow things and these blue things. These things are what we call nerves. And these nerves leave the spine and go to every single organ of the body. So it doesn't matter which organ it is, they all have nerves that go to it. And if you look carefully, you will see that each organ has a yellow branch as well as a blue branch of the nerves that go to it. Because every organ needs to do one of two things. It either has to speed up its function or slow down its function. And so one nerve acts as the accelerator to increase the role or the function of the organ, and the other one acts like the brakes to slow it down. This is what allows our bodies to operate in a level that's appropriate for our environment. And guess what dictates that? You guessed it. It is our brains. That's what determines how we manage our system, manage our bodies. So this is very important. So let's continue, yes? Now, what makes the nervous system the master control system? It's there because it governs and regulates the other systems. Now, if you noticed that there are nerves that exit the spine, if you have a misalignment of the spine, and this is how chiropractic kind of works, if you have a misalignment of the spine where the nerves that come through the spine are not able to move freely through, supposing something is compressing the nerve or pinching on the nerve, then if it pinches the nerve, it will affect the function of the nerve. Whatever the nerve controls will no longer have its appropriate control. And so you'll find that the system or the organ might be stuck in an accelerated position, meaning that things are going too fast, or it's stuck in a slowing down situation whereby it means that things are going too slowly. So it's important to understand that. Now, the medical term given to a misalignment of the spine is called a vertebral subluxation. I like to introduce this term to you because of the value of it. It explains why persons may have different challenges, like they're in a whiplash accident and they start to have, occasionally their heart starts to race and they are wondering, why is my heart racing? That's because the nerve that stimulates the rate of the beat of the heart might be the nerve that's impacted, which may cause it to speed up too much, and in turn causing the heart rate to be going way too fast, which oftentimes is a scary or frightening thing. So this is what the vertebral a segment of the spine looks like. If you notice, this middle bone here is out of alignment with the rest of the bones, and the opening where the nerves would normally exit is closed off where you see that red nerve. And so that is something that we have to look at. So if you notice, the opening here is where the nerves exit. This red nerve is there because this nerve is pinched because the bone from which the opening is made is pushed out of alignment, which closes off or pinches off that space, pinching on that nerve. So you may have heard of a pinched nerve before, and you may have heard of a slip disc before. This is how that comes about. This is how that comes about. So let us continue, shall we? Because we're trying to spice it up now. Stresses is what cause these misalignments to occur, and it's either physical stress, biochemical stress, or psychological stress. These are the three types of stresses that occur that will cause the body to break down in the different ways. But one thing's for sure is that the healthier our nervous system is, because it is our nervous system that responds to stress, the healthier our nervous system is the better able we are to adapt to changes in our environment. That is key. All right? That is key. So I'm going to try to show you something here quickly. I'm going to take away myself here and show you. This is what we call our general adaptive potential. It is the ability that we have to adapt to our environmental stresses. I'm going to use an analogy called a gap analogy to explain this general adaptive potential or gap potential. So shall we begin? If you consider that a gap will have a lower limit and an upper limit, the space between the gap or between those two limits is called the gap. The wider the gap is the healthier you are. As your upper limit increases further, as you get wider and wider, as it goes up and up, you are increasing your vitality, you're increasing your ability to adapt. But as the upper limit gets closer to the lower limit, as it starts to fall down, then the gap gets narrower. And if the gap gets narrower, that's when we break down, that's when we get sick, that's when we start to fall victim to the different ailments that are around us. So the wider our gaps, the better we can adapt. So this statement says our ability to adapt is determined by the width of our gap. So the higher the upper limit is, the better we can cope. Now I want you to understand this when we look forward at it. It is stresses in our environment that will push down on our upper limit and cause our gaps to become narrow. But we each have within us some resistance based on our own internal makeup, which is determined largely by the choices that we make. If we eat well, if we drink well, if we rest well, we have a higher likelihood of having a strong internal resistance to oppose any negative effects of stress in our environment. But unfortunately, that does not happen for everyone. And so, if it is that you are not maintaining that balance, then your gap can narrow. But as long as your gap remains wide enough so that all of your experiences of life will exist between the boundaries of our gap, then you do not get sick. Once the boundaries are outside of the range of our life experiences, we don't get sick. It is only when our gap gets narrower that we need to start to worry. And so, if we eat poorly and we cause our resistance to go down, then our potential will be lowered. And wherever our experiences exceed that potential, that's where we break down and that's where we get sick. That is not a good thing. All right, so we have to do our best to keep our gaps as wide as possible. So, how does chiropractic work? The healthier your nervous system is, the wider your gap would be. Chiropractic improves the function of our nervous system. So, therefore, one conclusion that can be drawn about chiropractic is that chiropractic widens our gap. But it's important to realize that it's not just about widening the gap per se, but it's not just about chiropractic. Because if you eat poorly and you live poorly and you're in a very stressed environment, then you will find that instead of having a nice wide gap, your gap might be narrow. So chiropractic alone, even if you get all the chiropractic adjustments in the world, that might not be enough. You have to make sure that you're doing all the things necessary to support good health through the different aspects of health. In our office, we have invested in technology that allows us to identify wherever you might be having spinal misalignments. That is, if that is the problem that you have. Because I hasten to state that not everybody has that as their reason for the illness or the ailment that they have. The technology includes one device that measures the temperature of the skin wherever there's a problem in the spine. It may change the nerves, the way the nerves fire that controls skin temperature. And so that's one way of identifying where there's a problem. Another way is identifying along the spine if the muscles are having the right tone. If the muscles are tense, then there's a problem. If the muscles are too weak, then there's a problem. So we have to use these things to measure for us if we're on track. Now, I like this next slide here because it shows us something that I think is very beneficial for us. It shows something that is very beneficial for us. All right, so I'm going to show you this thing. This lady in this study was asked to wiggle her left ankle, and they took a picture of her brain while she was completing the task. The picture was from what is called a functional MRI. So I'm going to try to show you what that looks like. Before the adjustment, when she did the task, wherever you see a light, that is an area of activity in the brain. And she had many areas within her brain. You see some blue lights, some red lights, some creamish color lights. All these colored lights are different areas of activity within the brain. And so we are seeing that almost the entire brain lit up, which is not good because the entire brain is not responsible for that type of action. It's only a very tiny area of the brain in the right hemisphere That's responsible for movement in the left ankle. When we reviewed everything and we did an adjustment of this woman, what we saw was that the area of involvement for the brain was considerably less than before. After the adjustment, a tiny little area of brain activity. After the adjustment here, before the adjustment, lots of areas of activity. This brain on the right, after the adjustment, is a more efficient brain. It is doing more work with less effort. And that is a good thing. I hope that makes sense to you all. Now, chiropractic neurology is a subspecialty within the field of chiropractic, and I'm a chiropractic neurologist. So I have to do several hours of specialized training every year just to maintain my status. And there's concurrent studies that I did while I was in university studying chiropractic. Normally, people wait until they're in practice because it's a really demanding course, and I was able to do it during school and, of course, pass the board exams. But the difference between a chiropractor and a chiropractic neurologist is that the regular chiropractor and as well as the chiropractic neurologist, we all know how to realign the spine. That is our training. That's the primary thing that we are trained to do. But for the chiropractic neurologist, we have specialized training that allows us to improve the function of the brain through exercise. So we retrain the brain itself. And this is important. There are many conditions that we treat as chiropractic neurologists. These behind me here are many that I personally have treated. I've treated every single one of these conditions. And most of them have had significant improvements. Some not so much, but the majority of these will have significant improvements. So it's important to understand, right, how chiropractic works. Now we have a vision here at Gardner Chiropractic to do one of three things. One is to identify a subluxation wherever it happens, right, or whenever it happens. And it might be that we have a patient that has been coming to us for years and they have an issue. We try to address that issue. We try not to allow things to get so bad out of hand that there's nothing that can be done. We try to address it. Two, we provide a program of chiropractic care to try to help persons to get better. And a program of care usually consists of about 12 sessions, 12 sessions, 12 treatments. And finally, we are all about educating our community. This forum is one way that we do that. That is one way that we do that. Now, the final key is this. The key to success, and I want you to, if you don't have the handout, and I want you to write it down so you have access to it. The key to success in getting and staying well is for you to take responsibility for your health and well-being. It is for you to take responsibility, not for me to take responsibility for you. You have to take your own responsibility. And that is key. All right? And for your children, you have to take responsibility for them as well. We have a video testimonial page on our YouTube channel that shows different testimonials. We welcome you to go to it after watching this presentation here. There are many things for you to learn and things that maybe you didn't even know. But these are some of the things that we have put up on our website. Now, the final thing that we want to discuss is, so we've talked about the difference between sick care versus health care. We talked about the truth about pain. We talked about the challenges with um, the way that we think. We looked at the different systems of the body and the nervous system being the master control system. We talked about the different types of stress and the general adaptive potential. The width of our gap is what determines our health. And we realized that the chiropractic adjustment can be applied to not just people with pain, but people with different types of ailments. So much so that we even have some specialties that allow us to do so. Having gone through all of that, however, it's important that persons understand that for tonight's show, or tonight's class, we have a very special offer. This special offer is for tonight only. And so we're going to ask that if you watch this presentation, whenever you watch it, you submit in the an email to, and I'll put the email address in the chat so that you have access to it. The email address, as I've put in the chat, is appointments@gcnjamaica.com. Please write down that email address and submit your email to indicate your interest in receiving or taking advantage of this offer. So if you're not yet a patient, meaning that you've not come in for a new patient exam, I should say, then there's a special offer for you just for having watched this presentation tonight. You will receive a 40% discount off your new patient examination as well as the scan fees. So this is important because every money that you can save is a benefit to you. So we want to offer this saving. We offer it because we do know already that the best consumers are the most educated ones. And since we've done a lot of educating tonight, we understand that persons who leave this class and come and end up becoming patients, they're usually the best patients. So because of that, we're offering a little incentive, right? For our existing patients, there are three things you're going to get. One is a 20% discount off the entire update exam, and the update exam is almost the same cost as the new exam. So it's 20% off that update exam. Plus you'll get a 20% discount off one treatment per person that you refer. 20% discount off one treatment per person that you refer, as well as an overall phase discount for the 12 treatments overall. You will get a discount of that entire 12 phases of care. And so this is what we call our phase discount. If you refer somebody to us and you're thinking about it, just make sure that they have your name so that when they come to the office, they can indicate to Antoinette who it is that invited them. And in so doing, Antoinette will then know who to apply the discounts to. If we do not know who referred you, we cannot know who to apply the discount to. So make sure that the person who you're talking to, that they know your name and number so that they can confirm that they've already done that. All right, so just the final slide here, which speaks to how we can be reached. Our website is gcnjamaica.com, gcnjamaica.com. You can follow us on Facebook at GCN Jamaica. Or you can follow us on YouTube at this same channel by typing in Gardner Chiropractic in the search bar, and it should take you here. And or on Facebook, you can follow our Back to Health talk show. We have a radio program once a week, every single week, on a Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. on Radio Jamaica 94 FM. So you are welcome to participate in that. So check us out. So these are the things that I wanted to kind of impart with you all tonight. These are the things I wanted to impart. So let me use a nicer background. There you are. So for those of you who were able to join us tonight, we discussed a lot tonight. We discussed quite a bit. I encourage you to take advantage of the discount because, like I said, times are hard and a lot of people have a lot of things to be spending money on. So if we can make it a little bit easier for you, we will be glad to do that. But the information that we shared tonight, I hope it didn't come across as bashing the profession of medicine, because the profession of medicine is important for the whole issue of emergency management. If they have to save your life from an infection or an illness or an injury, that's where they really shine. But if your goal is to optimize your health to get as healthy as possible, you need a different approach because the healthcare system does not offer anything to improve your health. That's a very important point. So we wish you all the very best and we thank you again. We went a little bit over, but not too far over. You may feel free to indicate in the chats what you thought about tonight's class, and I'll try to stay on for about another minute before coming off. So thank you so much for your time. Do have a wonderful and blessed day. You take care now. Okay, so Auntie Merville, for the offer is primarily okay. So the persons who are new to our practice, mean that they've not had a new patient exam. If they've not had that examination, that means they are new. For the new patients, all they have to do is to send an email to, and I'm gonna just try to pin that email address so that you have access to it. But just send an email to appointments@gcnjamaica.com. And once you do that, Karen will get that message and they will make your appointment or help you to schedule your appointment, and then they'll put a notation on the books to indicate that you should get that discount. So there's nothing that, other than sending the information and making the appointment, there's nothing really for you to do. But if you are an existing patient, what you have to do is to make sure that your name appears in this chat. Once your name appears in the chat, we will know that you participated in the class, and then when you ask for the discount, we can look back and see that you are here, and so we can know that you are due that discount. So that's all you have to do. And thanks for your feedback, everyone. And I will just say it was a pleasure getting to spend this time with you. It's almost 7:30. I look forward to spending more time with you again in the future. And may God bless you and keep you, and may his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. You take care of yourselves and be blessed in all that you do. Take care now and have a blessed